saying we're going to ban your free speech. We're not going to give you jobs if you criticize the government. You'll have to have an ID card to have jobs. We're tracking everything you do. Alternative media are terrorists. Gun owners are terrorists. Veterans are terrorists. I mean, it is a completely rogue, bankrupt government, openly run by offshore banks. I've got scores of articles about Chicago and Illinois police stealing people's cars, D.C. police tow people's cars legally parked and then keep them and take them to police chop shops. That's mainstream news. Dallas police are still planting drugs on people and taking their cars. Mainstream news. Just banks are stealing everything. I mean, the corruption is just, it is just unbelievable, Mike.
It is, and it's going to continue, and it's going to get worse until the people stand up and say no more. We have to have the right to say no to all of this stuff. There is no freedom without the freedom to say no. And the time to say no to all of this corruption is right now. Because if we don't stand up and oppose them now when we've got a reasonable chance of victory, we're soon going to be in a situation where that possibility of victory is being eroded away smaller and smaller because the government will work to perpetuate its power.
And, Mike, that's how this inchworm effect works, as you know. If we allow YouTube to keep banning Marines throwing puppies off cliffs and then liberal groups, conservative groups, ban Michael Savage, start banning me, then it bans everybody. You see, if we buckle under, I mean, they said, the Home Secretary in England and all are also saying it in Canada, we're banning criticizing the EU, we're banning criticizing global warming, we're banning criticizing open borders. We want this to be a chilling effect, they're saying, to teach you you're going to be penalized if you do this. That demands rebellion in the info war. Because I keep saying 90%, as the military says, of war is info war. 90% of it is speaking out. As Thomas Jefferson kept saying, educate the whole of the people about liberty and tyranny will fade. People keep asking what the solution is. It's rally. It's say no. It's speak out. It's rebuke this government. And, you know, you keep talking about drugs in the water. Look, I see stuff like this every week. And I didn't even cover this last week. That's how conditioned I am. And again, they just keep, I have MSNBC, CNN saying they want to put drugs in the water to make Americans not depressed. They're doing that because they know it's coming out. They're already doing it, and I can prove it in a moment. They have the Japanese government, British government coming out saying we want to put Prozac and lithium in the water, saying we want to put statin drugs for even for children in the water. Everyone needs to go on statin drugs for cholesterol, and that's shown to be a fraud. Look at this, lithium in the water, and it goes on to have the Japanese government, BBC, saying they should put lithium in the water. That's a hardcore antipsychotic, literally turns you into a zombie mentally. And then I have this article, more Americans taking drugs for mental illness, Reuters, and there was 50% more people on drugs last year than a few years, than 2000, from 2006 to 1996, the studies a few years late, they always take time. And they had over 100 million prescriptions in 2008 for Prozac alone. Go ahead, sir.
Well, basically, when you get back to this issue about all these laws that are coming out where the government is saying, we will punish you for speaking out, we will punish you for refusing to believe in global warming, we will punish you for refusing to believe in the Holocaust, this is terrorism. Our governments are committing terrorism against their own people. Now, I see that as an act of a complete desperation, but the reality is that the United States is becoming more and more like the Soviet Union, while the former Soviet Union is becoming more and more like the United States of America used to be. And it's amazing how this transition is going on. But you're absolutely right. We are headed in this direction of a total surveillance police state. They're watching us all the time. They're allowed to go into our computers without telling us, without a warrant. It's almost comical to see Jane Harman standing up there screaming about what was a warranted legal wiretap on her conversation and rail about that when she was one of Bush's strongest supporters for warrantless spying and surveillance on ordinary citizens.
Oh, yeah, they're going to burn the FBI agents just like all the FBI agents that tried to stop 9/11 got burned or fired, and the very ones that helped it happen and blocked investigations when flight schools are going, this guy didn't want to know how to land or take off. He wants to know how to fly into buildings. They gave them record cash bonuses.
They absolutely did, and the same thing with the FBI agents for the AIPAC spy case. They're going to now be fired now that the AIPAC spies have been let go.
Man, I mean, I tell you, Mike, I really am getting freaked out. I mean, there is nowhere to run either. I mean, I'll be honest. If there was some new world and some new country, some island I could go to with my family, I'd still, do a website or something and try to fight for my old homeland. But, I'd get out of here. There's nowhere to go, man. This is a new world order. And I just can't believe the public is starting to get an idea. But I don't think they realize, Mike, they tune into us and they think, oh, these guys are exaggerating. I can't explain how bad it is, all the data we've got. Let's take a call. Well, let me finish up on the drugs in the water. I'm going to make a film about this. It's going to be part of the new film I'm making in the future. That they've done the studies, and this has even been in the mainstream news and the Associated Press, where water supplies in reservoirs that are not tied to toilet to tap, that are not sewage reclaimed water dump sites where they have the sewage treatment plant and then it dumps into a reservoir. As a lot of, these reservoirs that have high levels of Prozac and, cocaine and nicotine and caffeine. I mean, it's all in there because sewage is going in there after it's been treated, but the chemicals are still there, for the listeners that don't understand that. They're finding in rivers and streams and small town reservoirs that are not connected and are not downstream from runoff of effluent that is from sewage, and they're finding super high levels of serotonin reuptake inhibitors. And I've seen the different lab studies where it's kind of like a generic mass binder of a serotonin reuptake inhibitor, fluorine/fluoride molecule, and it's clearly man-made. They are dosing us, and they know it's coming out, so they're saying every week on the news, I'm catching it, and I don't see a lot of news, we might put drugs in the water. Hell, they're probably about to announce drugs in the water. What's coming next, Mike?
It's definitely out there, and anybody who complains about it, they're going to try and ridicule us the way they ridiculed anybody who was concerned about fluoride being in the water. And you'd see all these TV shows and movies about anybody who talked about fluoride in the water. Even in Dr. Strangelove, Stanley Kubrick's wonderful film about nuclear war, the guy who goes nuts, he's talking about fluoride and the purity of our precious bodily fluids. And that's what they're going to do to anybody who complains about drugs in the water now.
And meanwhile, it's the government pushing to make us take vaccines and saying they're getting ready for forced inoculations with the next pandemic. They want our precious bodily fluids. We were hacked for 5 days straight last week. They went over our CDNs, directly into the ports, and they attacked the facilities themselves, and we would block them. The entire IT facilities. We're being banned all over the internet. We're being attacked by COINTELPRO everywhere. A lot of them are government agents or stooges who are kind of a snowball effect, a parrot effect, a Papagano effect, copying the operatives that get them to. A lot of other people attack me because I'm in pole position in the fight against the New World Order that is really not an enviable position. I mean, this, if you were here, you'd know, and a lot of you wouldn't be so jealous and upset out there and making crap up about me. But, it's kind of like the guy says in the movie Network when he comes in, he says, if you put Howard Beale on television, I'll sue you. I'll go to all the papers. And he's like, great, we need all the publicity we can get. I mean, that's kind of my position here. But at the same time, I'm not doing this for ego, so it's not fun. And I'm way deep into this now, and there's no turning back. I want to take a few calls from MikeRivero, another great patriot who, just continues to fight the New World Order and get the word out. And a lot of times I get news wrong, because I read this morning, and then I forgot to, I just blurted out that there was a doubling of people. And it's actually, they said a 73% increase in adults using prescription drugs, and a 50% of children are using drugs to treat mental illness. So however that comes out. So that's from Reuters. So there's the actual number. I have a tendency